We are entering a recession. Sell everything you own. No, I'm completely kidding. Today, the Atlanta Fed came out with their GDP Now forecast, and they are forecasting that the Q2 GDP is going to come out as a negative print. That'll be our second negative GDP quarter in a row. And yeah, that does officially put us in a recession. But does the market care? Let's dive in. Today was the first day of the new quarter, also the first day of the new month. And let's see today's price action ahead of the holiday weekend. S&P 500 finished out the session up 1.06%. Our NASDAQ QQQ finished out up 0.66%. Our IWM small caps, they finished out up 1.21%. Dogs of the Dow were up 0.98%. Our ARK Innovation ETF, pretty good finish, up 3.36%. Volatility was crushed across all of these indices, except for the Dow Jones. For whatever reason, the Dow volatility was a bit elevated. At one point, this was up over 30%, and it was very odd. I honestly don't know what's going on with that ticker. But nonetheless, for the most part, volatility came out of the market. We had nice breadth across the board, and this really built up throughout the session. We finished out with 77.4% up volume. And guess what, team? The trend model flipped from -1 to +1. When you see these GDP estimates, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, like in the future, there's going to be a negative GDP print. But that Atlanta Fed number, that's the forecast again for the Q2 of 2022, and Q2 is over. Market participants, for the most part, they are looking ahead about 6 to 12 months into the future. So that is why, like, I saw that as well. It was a little bit jarring, but you can see at least into the holiday, the market pretty much handled it in stride. We also got some hotter than expected inflation data out of Europe, and the markets overall handled this pretty well. I think the market is really pricing in a recession. The semiconductors were the worst performing group today out of the S&P 500, and that was led by Micron, which actually had a downward revision to their guidance for next quarter. So it's very interesting, like when these numbers come out, the GDP estimates, we think that, you know, this is brand new news, but for the most part, like everyone that's been coming through these companies reporting earnings, like they're all getting a feel for what these companies experienced. And I think for the most part that outcome is priced in. Biotech, again, was very strong, up 3.06%. We're going to take a look at a few of these biotech names. One of our members actually brought one to our attention that was awesome. It was Humana, and that one ended up being a very nice winner. Take a look here, some weakness. Semiconductors, again, MSOS Cannabis down 0.1%, and then European financials were also weak. So we had the biotech strength, we had ARK Innovation strength. You can see solar stocks continue to advance, medical devices. Yeah, we ended up having a pretty good session here. Minvol was up 1.21%, and small cap value was up 1.45%. You can also see here we did have some strength across the board. And it's tough to really tell if this is actually meaningful or if it's really just last day before vacation. Most people are out of the office, a lot of the big time decision makers. Maybe players just kind of stopped selling and the market ripped into the holiday. Either way, if we look at our S&P 500, we have a brand new monthly value area, and we actually closed above the monthly point of control. So no complaints there. We're pretty much right on top of this 5-day EMA as well as 10-day EMA. And we are within a stone's throw away from the 20-day simple moving average. So this is interesting. If we look at some of these prior rejections, you'll notice like this rejection right here, for instance, we rejected and we just firmly and decisively moved lower in the market. Same thing here. We tried to reclaim that 20-day simple moving average, firm rejection and another leg lower. Same thing here. You know, here we even moved over the 20-day. But what I note here is that there is a bit of a volatility contraction where we got rejected at the 20-day simple moving average, but we barely even declined. We kind of just moved down a little bit, and now here we are. We're already trying to advance and potentially challenge it once again. My bias is to the upside, and especially given my trend model that flipped positive, that really just confirms that bias. NASDAQ was up 0.7%. Very similar look here, except the NASDAQ is not quite yet over the hump of that monthly point of control. Our Russell 2000 up 1.15% above that monthly point of control. And our dogs of the Dow Jones up 0.86%. They indeed are above that monthly point of control. The healthcare stocks, they look like they're really set up very well. We have Eli Lilly. This was one of the names from our Pristine Capital Weekend watch list. Look how much this one is tightening up. Very nice action. We have J&J also up 1.13%. Also looks very solid, pretty close to the highs. We have PRVA, which I am currently long, and this one also tightening up right around these highs. The best one out of this group is Humana. One of our members today was doing his daily work, and he shared this with the group, which is awesome. And that's really the benefit of trading in a community. We're all trying to get better. Like, I'm sharing all of my homework with everyone on a day-to-day basis, but really the goal is we want everyone to be sharing their homework. That's the ideal state, because the worst kind of trading community is if like I'm there and it's like I'm giving my sermon on the mount, so like everyone listen to me. No, it's really about us all being on a similar methodology and a similar strategy, and we have a bunch of traders that are all coalescing, and we're covering more ground than one individual trader could on their own. If you're interested in joining us, if that sounds interesting to you, go to pristinecapital.net, get signed up, and get involved with our trading group. Humana, awesome performer today. This one broke out of this monthly value area. So yeah, it's tough to really get super bearish on the market here when we're seeing groups of stocks beginning to set up. And we're seeing that the energy stocks, which were leading us throughout the entire bear market, they're actually taking a back seat. So I think if you're just looking at the headline indices, you're going to miss out on a lot of these clues and a lot of these details below the surface. Like for instance, Global E. This is actually my largest position at the moment. Global E, this chart is really starting to base out. And look at this, we challenged this top of value today. We're back above these key moving averages. And even while the S&P 500 was blood red intraday, Global E was still moving to the upside. So we're seeing even when the indices are being sold off, there are groups of stocks that are being purchased. And that's not typically what would happen if we were just in the middle of another bear market rally. This definitely looks like there's something meaningful happening under the surface. And for that reason, I've been positioned a little bit more aggressively than I think most others would be. I ended up closing out an additional third of my DBC October 21st 28 strike puts for $2.50. I had paid $1.73 for those, and I'm down to my remaining third of that position. I entered that commodities short when those things were ripping to the upside, and I think for most people they would be like, what are you doing? That's crazy. Commodities only go up now. And now that short is actually paying out pretty nicely, which is good. MSOS, I entered this position the other day. I have some cannabis January 19th of 2024 13 strike calls. I actually did take an exit in these. I closed these out for $2.78. I had paid $3.50, and I wrote here, I have no doubt that these cannabis assets are going to have their day, but there is an opportunity cost of keeping the capital in this trade for my trading account. This seems more like a position I'll put on in one of my long-term accounts. I honestly think that those cannabis companies, they have a double in them, they have a triple in them, which is why I went out to 2024. But I was seeing some other opportunities in the market that I wanted to take advantage of. And that's really, as a trader, it's super important. You don't want to get your money tied up in, bad opportunity costs, whatever. So I just wanted to keep the capital rotating and move that on. I did add to my BITO September 16th, 15 strike calls for 82 cents. Now I have an average cost of $1.33. And I noted here, this is the Bitcoin futures ETF. The Bank for International Settlements introduced new crypto regulations yesterday, and the EU actually introduced new regulations today. And this is bullish in that it's going to prevent another Lehman Brothers-like event in the crypto space from happening again. More regulation attracts more sophisticated investors. So I actually juiced that position up because I think there is a pretty big opportunity right now in the crypto space, and I want to take advantage of that. And then finally, I set a price alert at $220 for Enphase, and once it gets there, I'm going to go ahead and close out my Enphase call options. Super important, make sure you get a chance to recharge. We do have a beautiful 3-day weekend ahead of us. Definitely take advantage of that. Over this weekend, I'm going to be putting out our normal content, our weekend market analysis video, as well as our weekend watch list video. I am also creating a new channel within our Discord for daily report cards. This is a process that we talked about in our Discord about potentially launching, and it's really just a way that we can all remain accountable for what we're doing and make sure that we are improving and making progress. So I'm going to create a template for that, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to make it optional. Hey, if you want to post yours in the group, go ahead. I know there's other people that they're way more private and they just want to see certain parts of the group, they might not want to do that. It doesn't interest them. It's completely optional. But if you do post your daily report card every single day for the entire month, we're going to enter you into a raffle. Winner in the group gets a $25 Amazon gift card. So if you are driven and you do actually want to do a daily report card and you want to progress in your trading, you can go ahead and start posting that. So we're going to get the template for that worked out this weekend. If you're interested in receiving the weekend market analysis video, the weekend watch list video, you want to be a part of this daily report card process, you want to get involved in our trading group, feel free to go ahead, visit pristinecapital.net. We would love to have you in our group. So go ahead, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, social media, whatever it might be. Happy to answer any questions. With that being said, hope you all have an awesome weekend. Enjoy, spend some time with family, friends, get that barbecue in, get that exercise in, and I'll see you all next time.